Local voices. Global rhythms. Coventry's #1 community station. This is 98.6 Hills FM.
Kicking off the second hour of Sports Lounge with the Tramps and Hold Back the Night.
As long as you live, someone who loves you tender like I do, you'll never find, no matter where you search, someone who cares about you the way I do. But I'm the one who loves you, and there's no one else, no one else. You never find it'll take the end of all time someone to understand you like I do. You'll never find the rhythm, the rhyme, all the magic we shared, just us two. Oh, I'm not trying to make you stay, baby, but I know somehow, someday, some way you are gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my loving. When it's cold outside, you're gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my love. You'll never find another love like mine. You'll keep searching and searching your whole life through. Oh, I don't wish you no bad luck, baby, but there's no ifs and buts, or maybe you're gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my loving. I know you're gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my loving. You're gonna miss my love. Oh, you're gonna miss my loving. Late in the midnight hour, baby, you're gonna miss my when it gets real cold outside. You're gonna miss my loving. I know that you are gonna miss my love. Let me tell you that you're gonna miss my loving. Yes, you will, baby. You're gonna miss my when I'm long gone. I know that you are gonna miss.
Precious moments. When will I see you again? When will we share precious moments? Will I have to wait forever? Will I have to suffer and cry the whole night through? When will I see you again? When will our hearts beat together? Are we in love or just friends? Is this my beginning or is this the end? When will I see you again? When will I see you again? When will I see you again, Lord? Precious Lord, are we in love or just friends? Is this my beginning or is this the end? When will I see you again? When will I see you again? Sweet, sweet love of mine. When will I see you again? Come, when will I see you again? Tell me again. When will I see you again? My sweet love. When will I see you again? When will I see you again?
Loving the soul anthems here on Sports Lounge this morning. Just call me the Bantasaurus. I'll get me coat. And we've got the Drifters coming up in a short while, but now it's time for a personal favourite of mine. It's the predictions. It's a chance to show how little I know about Premier League football. Now, I'm only joking. I'm about Bantasaurus. I know all about my sport, but sometimes things don't go the way that you want them to, especially when you're a Coventry City fan. We know all about that too well. And also, just before we go into the predictions, a bit of breaking news coming to us now. We told you earlier that Coventry have missed out on the signing of Wolves captain Sam Ricketts. He's gone on to Swindon Town. That's expected to be announced this afternoon. But the Sky Blues are moving quickly to snap up another defender, and that is Chris Stokes, the Forest Green Rovers fullback. Initially signed on a month-long loan deal in February for the Sky Blues, and that deal is expected to be extended to the end of the season later today. Tony Mowbray is in talks with Forest Green to extend the deal until May, and it looks like Forest Green are willing to part with him. He's done pretty well since he's come in. I've got to say, I didn't expect much of him, but he's kept Ryan Haynes on the bench. He's done really well, he has. So I'll be very, very happy to see him stay, and it looks like we've got our wish. Chris Stokes is staying with Coventry City until the end of the season. Now on to the predictions. First of all, we have a 12:45 kickoff. Manchester City versus West Bromwich Albion. 2nd versus 13th here. City lost ground after their shock defeat at Burnley and were lucky that Chelsea could only manage a draw at home to Southampton. West Brom have lost just one of their last 6 league games and have quietly moved up to 13th place in the table. Now, City probably I've got a little bit of confidence after that defeat at Barcelona. And that sounds weird, having confidence after a defeat. But Joe Hart's confidence will be brimming at the moment because he pulled off some sensational saves. And I think he'll probably keep a clean sheet here. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Manchester City. On to the 3 o'clock kickoffs now. Aston Villa versus Swansea City. Villa are starting to find their form under manager Tim Sherwood. A big 4-0 win at Sunderland last week moves them up to 16th, but they remain just 3 points above the drop zone. Swansea have fallen behind in the fight for Europe in recent weeks, just 2 wins in their last 11 Premier League games, and the defence has been a little bit leaky. Scoring isn't a major issue though, and I think Swansea should come away with the win. I'm going to go Villa 1, Swansea 3. Here we go, a game that always throws up a couple of crackers here. Newcastle versus Arsenal. Newcastle are just about safe from relegation, but they are struggling for goals. Just 2 goals in their last 6 games. Arsenal are now looking a dead cert for a Champions League place, in my opinion. They've been in fantastic form. They haven't failed to score in a match since the 1-0 defeat at Chelsea on October the 5th. And only 2 teams have conceded more goals than Newcastle this season, those being QPR and Burnley. And Newcastle's top scorer, Pape Cisse, is still banned after that spitting incident with Johnny Evans. So I think it's going to be an Arsenal win here. I'm going to go for a boring old 1-0. I'm going to go Newcastle 0, Arsenal 1. Southampton versus Burnley, the 2 banana skins for the top 2 last weekend. Saints will be looking to build on a strong showing at Chelsea last Sunday, while Burnley looked to cause another upset after their 1-0 victory over Manchester City. But I think Southampton are going to go for it here. I think they're going to get a comfortable 2-0 victory. Stoke versus Crystal Palace. Stoke having another great season under Mark Hughes. The Potters have moved above West Ham and Swansea up to 8th place. A 1-0 defeat at West Brom last week wouldn't be a fantastic result for them, but Mark Hughes has admitted his side just weren't good enough at the Hawthorns. As for Palace, they seem to be safe from the drop after Alan Pardew's arrival sparked new life in the Eagles. Only 1 team in the bottom half has scored more than Palace. That's Everton with 36. It's going to be a close one here, but you know what? I'm going to go draw. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw here. I think there's going to be goals in this one. Spurs face Leicester at White Hart Lane in another 3 o'clock kickoff, the final of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. The last time these 2 sides met, the Foxes knocked Spurs out of the FA Cup at the Lane. Tottenham's hopes of Champions League football took a big knockback on Sunday after a 3-0 defeat at Manchester United. But with winnable fixtures against Leicester, Burnley, Villa and Newcastle coming up, they'll fancy their chances. As for Leicester, they have to start winning and fast. They're 7 points from safety, but in their last 9 games, they will play the 3 teams directly in front of them. So all hope is not lost. But I do think Spurs will come out the victors here. I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory for Spurs, and you know who's going to get it, Mr. Harry Kane. I'm going to go for a Harry Kane strike to put the Foxes out of their misery. I think Leicester, unfortunately, are going to be going down. It's sad to see a team, the champions of the league, come up and then go straight back down. I mean, I actually thought they were going to be the best of the 3 promoted teams. They come to a shock when Burnley are the top team out of the promoted sides. It really is a shock. On to the 5:30 kickoff now on Saturday. It's West Ham United versus Sunderland. It's the first game for new Sunderland boss Dick Advocaat. He's got a tough task on his hand with the Black Catchers 1 point above the drop zone. They haven't won any of their previous 7 games in League and Cup. Despite the arrival of Jermaine Genius, only Villa have scored less goals than Sunderland. They take on a West Ham side whose hopes of a place in Europe are all but over after an awful run of results. Their last Premier League win was on the 18th of January at home to Hull. But I think this is a golden opportunity for West Ham to get some points here. I'm going to go for a West Ham win. I'm going to go for a West Ham win here. I'm going to go 2-1 to West Ham. I'm going to go for a late winner as well. Onto the Sunday fixtures now. 1:30. Liverpool versus Manchester United. It's the big one, but the big player may not be playing. Reds legend Jamie Carragher has suggested that Steven Gerrard may not start the game due to the current form of Jordan Henderson and Joe Allen. Now, this is a crucial time of the season for Liverpool. They face Arsenal in their next match at the Emirates, but after the Gunners, they have a pretty favourable end to the season, with the only game at Chelsea causing any headaches. United thrashed Spurs 3-0 in their last match and need to keep the run going as they face City, Chelsea and Arsenal in the closing weeks of the season. Rooney is back on form playing up front and the defence has firmed up, but I do think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go for a 0-0. I really don't think this is going to be a classic. I think that I just think these two sides are going to just counteract each other. I think it's going to be like two opposite poles heading together. So I'm going to go for a 0-0 here. 4 o'clock kickoff now. Hull City versus Chelsea. The Blues need to get back to their best. They need to get their head back in the game after a disappointing week. They're out of the Champions League and they dropped a big opportunity to open up a gap to rivals Manchester City. Gary Cahill has admitted they have to win this weekend. Off-field matters could soon take over at Hull after the club's owner, Assem Alam, has been informed he can once again apply to change the club's name. And the Tigers have a tough end to the season, which means it could mean some nervous times for the Hull faithful as they're just 3 points above the drop zone. This is another potential banana skin for Chelsea, but games like this are games that Chelsea thrive on. I'm going to go for a big 4-0 victory for Chelsea. It'll probably end up being a whole victory, but I'm going to go for a 4-0 to Chelsea. And the final game of the weekend is a relegation cruncher, really. Queen's Park Rangers versus Everton. The Ars need to start picking up points, and this is a big chance to do so. Everton have been disappointing this season, and they still aren't safe from relegation. But the Toffees boosted their survival chances with a 3-0 home win against Newcastle last Sunday. QPR have won just once in their last 13 games, and things are starting to look bleak for them. They're in 19th place, 4 points from safety, so the points need to start flowing in if they're going to stay up. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Everton here. So Queen's Park Rangers 0, Everton 2, and I think Romelu Lukaku will get at least one of the goals. Right, those were your predictions. Coming up next, we have the goal of the week, and after these next few songs, we have the blockbuster announcement that you've all been waiting for. Hold on to your seats, folks. This is going to be a big one, coming up live and exclusive on 98.6 Hills FM. But in some more music now, some more sweet soul music with the Drifters and You're Not Just a Number in My Little Red Book. I think they had a football version of this. You're more than just a name in my little red card.
You're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night day. All I had to take me was just one look. My heart began a thumping. Babe, you had it jumping. 'Cause you're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night stand. In case you get to thinking that you've been took, you're more than a number written in my little red book. Oh, baby, give us a chance. Don't let the small town rumors end our first real romance. Now I'll admit I've loved of you, but there was never one like you. So darling, don't believe the things they say. You're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night date. All I had to take me was just one look. My heart began a thumping. Babe, you had it jumping. 'Cause you're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night stand. In case you get to thinking that you've been took, you're more than a number written in my little red book. Oh, baby, you gave me a sign. I threw away the numbers of those old flames of mine. And now they're trying to put you wise, knock me down in my girl's eyes. Oh, darling, don't believe the words they say. You're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night date. All I had to take me was just one look. My heart began a thumping. Babe, you had it jumping. 'Cause you're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night stand. In case you get to thinking that you've been took, you're more than a number written in my little red book. Oh, you're more than a number in my little red book. You're more than a one-night day. All I had to take me was just one look. My heart began a thumping. Babe, you had Why do you build me up, buttercup, baby, just to let me down and mess me around? And then worst of all, you never call, baby, when you say you will. But I love you still, I need you more than anyone, darling. You know that I have from the start. So build me up, buttercup, don't break my heart. I'll be over at 10, you told me time and again, but you're late. I wait around and then I run to the door. I can't take any more. It's not you. You let me down again. Baby, try to find a little time and I'll make you happy. I'll be home, I'll be beside the phone waiting for you. Why do you build me up, buttercup, baby, just to let me down and mess me around? And then worst of all, you never call, baby, when you say you will. But I love you still, I need you more than anyone, darling. You know that I have from the start. So build me up, buttercup, don't break my heart. You are my toy, but I could be the boy you adore if you just let me know. Although you are true, I'm attracted to you.
want more. Why do I need you so? Baby, baby, try to find a little time and I'll make you happy. I'll be home, I'll be beside the phone waiting for you. Why do you build me up, buttercup, baby, just to let me down? And mess me around, and then worst of all, you never call, baby, when you say you will. But I love you still, I need you more than anyone, darling. You know that I have from the start. So build me up, buttercup, don't break my heart. I need you more than anyone, baby. You know that I have from the start. So build me up.
I can't fool myself, I don't want nobody else to ever love me. You are my shining star, my guiding light, my love fantasy. There's not a minute, hour, day or night that I don't love you. You're at the top of my list, cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you, how I spent my day dreaming, planning how to say I love you. You must have known that I had feelings deep enough to swim in. That's when you opened up your heart and you told me to come and oh my love. 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Oh my love. A million days in your arms is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Too much, never too much, never too much, never too much. Woke up today, looked at your picture just to get me started. I called you up, but you weren't there, and I was broken hearted. Hung up the phone, can't be too late. The boss is so demanding. Opened the door up, and to my surprise, there you were standing. Who needs to go to work to hustle for another dollar? I'd rather be with you, cause you make my heart scream and holler. Love is a gamble, and I'm so glad that I am winning. We've come a long way, and yet this is only the beginning. Oh my love, 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Oh my love. A million days in your arms is never too much. And I just don't wanna stop. Oh my love. 1,000 kisses from you is never. I just don't wanna stop.
Coventry's #1 community station. 98.6.
Hot, hot, hot on 2.
If you need a new boiler, call Longfield Heating and Plumbing. We specialise in Valiant boilers and we can offer a 7-year guarantee. The number is 07956 801 317. Look forward to your call.
Hills FM presents Ska and Reggae fundraiser on the 18th of April at Nights, located at the Two-Tone Village. Featuring DJ sets from Neil Davis and the Williams Brothers, and a live performance from Rooted and Booted.
Come along at 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
This is an 18 plus event. Tickets cost £5 and are available from the Watch Centre, 12 Victoria Street, Hillfields.
Have you got a business or an event that you'd like to advertise? Well, get in touch with the advertising department at Hills Radio on 024 76 550 564.
This is 98.6 Hills FM.
Right, people, now is the time. We've been hyping this all week. As soon as I got confirmation of it, I was just like, right, I've got to start hyping it. I've got to get people interested for the show. And now it's that time. I was going to get a drum roll, but I thought, no, we had enough cheesy sound effects on the awards shows, so we're not going to do that. But here it is. On the 16th of April, right here, on Sports Lounge, on 98.6 Hills FM, there will be an interview with myself and former Coventry, Manchester United and Aston Villa manager Ron Atkinson. I still can't believe it. It's a massive, massive moment for Sports Lounge. By far, the biggest sports personality that Sports Lounge has ever had on the show. And also, courtesy of Christ the King School and Mr. Paul Armstrong, who made it happen. Big shout out to you, Paul, if you're listening. We are giving away 2 free tickets to the meet and greet with Ron Atkinson on Friday, the 10th of April at Christ the King School. Very generous offer there from Christ the King and Mr. Paul Armstrong. So again, big thank you to Christ the King School and Paul Armstrong for making that happen. But the big news right here on Sports Lounge is that on the 16th of April, Thursday the 16th of April 2015, Sports Lounge will feature a interview with Big Ron himself, Mr. Ron Atkinson. I absolutely cannot wait. Biggest moment of my career by a mile. Until now, the biggest personality we've had on the show is former Coventry defender Jordan Clark. So this is a massive, massive moment for Sports Lounge. Hopefully we can do it justice. And also, for next week's Cook's Question, we want you to send in your questions for Ron Atkinson. If you have a question, then send it in and it could be chosen and be asked to the big man himself. Make it a good one. I don't want to hear any cheeky stuff or anything inappropriate. It's got to be a proper, good question that people want to hear. We're going to be picking 3 of your questions to read out on the show and to ask the man himself, so make them good ones. And I also can't believe it. I finally got the monkey off my back. Ron Atkinson is going to be on the show. Can't believe it. Right, we'll have more details on the interview with Ron Atkinson as we go along towards the 16th of April. So I believe it's 4 weeks away now. It's either 3 or 4 weeks away, but it's massive, massive for the show. Hope you enjoy it. Again, if you have any questions, then it's Cook's Question next week. Now, from one momentous occasion to an old favourite, the goal of the week. As usual, we pick the top 3 goals from each of England's top 4 divisions, and we pick a top 5 out of those. Let's start with the Premier League. Third place is Olivier Giroud for Arsenal versus West Ham United. A sensational passing move. It was like a game of pinball. Giroud eventually fired it in off the far post to make it 1-0 to the Gunners. That's a thing. Are they known as the Gunners or the Gooners? I've heard them be called both. Answered on a postcard. Second place is Ross Barkley for Everton versus Newcastle United. A sensational run by Christian Atsu down the right flank. Through ball to Barkley. He ran into the box, rounded the keeper and squeezed it in at the near post. And the goal of the week for the Premier League has to be Matt Phillips for Queen's Park Rangers versus Crystal Palace. A clean 40-yard strike into the roof of the net. It's the longest distance a goal has been scored from this season in the Premier League. To the Championship now. Third place, we have Jermaine Pennant for Wigan versus Rotherham United. He'd already scored one free kick, so you would have thought the keeper would be ready. Wrong. The former Liverpool man perfectly found the top right corner. And you know what? I didn't even know that Jermaine Pennant had gone to Wigan. I thought he was still in Spain with Real Zaragoza. But I heard it on a sports show that read out the goals. I won't say which one. Other shows are available, I must say. But it said Jermaine Pennant had scored for Wigan. I was just like, wow, he has come down a lot. But it shows that the Championship could well be a place to rejuvenate his career. Second place is a man coming back from a long injury setback, Jem Karachan. Reading versus Watford, a beautiful half volley from 20 yards as Watford failed to clear a corner. It's good to see Jem Karachan back in the groove. And the goal of the week for the Championship has to be Patrick Bamford's second goal for Borough versus Ipswich. A long ball to the youngster. He turned the defender on the halfway line, ran into the box and fired into the far corner. League One now, third place is former Norwich man David Fox for Colchester versus Crawley. He killed his free kick around the wall low into the bottom corner. The keeper didn't even move. In second place is Sami Smodic, also for Colchester versus Crawley. A first-time half-volley swerved to the right and into the side of the net. But the League One goal of the week is Josh Morris for Fleetwood versus Rochdale. 25-yard strike flew in at the bottom corner. It didn't do him much good against Coventry, though. Clean sheet. That's the thing. Clean sheet for Coventry. Well done, Lee Burge. And now to League Two. Third place, we have Joe Piggott for Southend versus Dagenham. He tricked his way past defenders in the box and a calm finish for the goal. Second place is the beast himself, Adebayo Akinfenwa for Wimbledon versus Exeter. A beautiful volley from the edge of the box. And the League Two goal of the week is Ryan Leonard for Southend versus Dagenham. A chipped volley over the goalkeeper from 30 yards out. I think he'll have a tough task to score a better goal than that in his career. So, who has got the goal of the week? I hear you ask. Well, calm down, because I'm going to tell you. In fifth place, we have Patrick Bamford for Middlesbrough versus Ipswich. Second place is Ross Barkley. Third place is Josh Morris' 25-yard strike for Fleetwood. Second place is the 30-yard chip from Ryan Leonard, but there can only be one winner, and that is Matt Phillips' 40-yard stunner for Queen's Park Rangers versus Crystal Palace. It may only have been a consolation for QPR, but it's an award for Matt Phillips. Matt, the trophy is in the post as soon as we design one. Right, we've got about 20 minutes to go until we hand over to Shiro and a wonderful, wonderful African show. Before then, we've still got the lowdown on the new Speedway season. If you're not exactly, infoed up on the Speedway, then don't worry, we've got you covered here on Sports Lounge. And of course, we've got Cook's question as well. This week, we want to know who you think Coventry's greatest ever academy product is. So get your opinions in. You can phone the studio on 02476 224 761. I'll say it again, 02476 224 761. Now, let's have a great song here by MFSB with The Sound of Philadelphia. I don't know what I want to be called now, either the Bantosaurus or the Soul Man. Sound of Philadelphia there. And, Coventry's going to be alive with the sound of motorbike engines soon, because Speedway is coming back to Coventry. That is right. The Elite League season is right around the corner. Now, if you're a local sport fan, but you're not clued up with Speedway, kind of like myself, to be honest with you, I wasn't until a few weeks ago, but don't worry, the Bantosaurus has got you covered with some trivia and facts about Speedway. It's actually called Motorcycle Speedway, but we just call it Speedway for short. It involves 4 and sometimes up to 6 riders competing over 4 anti-clockwise laps of an oval circuit. Speedway motorcycles only use 1 gear and have no brakes. Imagine that. Riding around the track at 70 miles an hour with no brakes on. I tell you what, you need a change of undercrackers after that. I certainly would. Racing takes place on a flat oval track, usually consisting of dirt, loosely packed shale, or dolomite, which is usually used in Australia and New Zealand. Competitors use the surface of the track to slide their machines sideways, power sliding or broad sliding into the bends. On the straight sections of the tracks, the motorcycles can reach speeds of up to 70 miles an hour. The exact origins of the sport are unknown, but there is evidence of a type of speedway racing being practiced in the USA before the First World War and Australia in the late 1910s and early 1920s. A regular league meeting consists of 15 heats. 3 points are scored for first place, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third. A rider does not score when finishing fourth or failing to finish, or if excluded from a race. These points accumulate over the competition, with the riders' points either counting towards individual or team placings. In the event of a tie, the race is commonly awarded as a dead heat. If it is a tie for first place, they will both receive 2 points, and a tie for second earns the driver 1 point, while a joint last place finish earns each rider 0 points. Teams can use a tactical substitute rule once in a meeting. If the team is 8 or more points in arrears, they may bring in the use of a different rider in their team lineup to race in any heat except for heat 15. If they're 10 or more points behind, a rider with a scheduled ride may go out for double points, in which riders' points would be doubled if he beats a rider of the opposing team. So, like, if he wins a heat, then he can pick up 6 points. That's a lot. It is a hell of a lot. The top league of Speedway is in the UK is the Elite League, and Coventry actually do well in Speedway. This season, the Elite League will consist of 8 teams rather than the usual 10. Coventry Bees, Poole Pirates, Swindon Robins, Bellevue Aces, Leicester Lions, Kings Lynn Stars, Lakeside Hammers, and the Wolverhampton Wolves will all take their place in the Elite League. The current champions are the Poole Pirates. I've actually been to their stadium. It's okay, but Speedway isn't as glamorous as football. Teams are awarded 2 points for a win and 1 point for a draw. And actually, from 2008, 3 points are awarded for an away win. Each team races every other team in the league home and away, and then races 5 teams again home and away, giving a total of 38 meetings. The first of these home and away fixtures are called the A fixtures, and the second are the B fixtures. The top 4 teams qualify for the championship playoffs. The semi-finals are single matches, with the top 2 league positions having home advantage. So it's basically first versus third and second versus fourth. Winners of these semi-finals then meet in a 2-legged grand final to decide the Elite League Championship winner. And for 2014, it was announced that each Elite League team would field 2 British drivers from the lower leagues as reserve drivers. These would be picked from a random draft of 23 riders. Now, as I said, Coventry have done well in the Elite League in the last few years. They've won the Elite League 3 times and have won 6 other titles in different leagues. So the Blaze actually do pretty well at this sport. So fingers crossed we can actually do something this season. I do believe we got to the did we get to the final last year? I think it was I think we did get to the final, but let's hope that we can win it this year. I mean, there's less competition. We're down to 8 teams rather than the usual 10. And also last season we had the sad loss of the Birmingham Brummies, who actually went into administration and ceased to exist, but they're back now in the Premier League, which is the second division of Speedway. So it's good to see them back as well. But remember, the Bees have a big local derby in the East Midlands Bowl match this Friday at Brandon Speedway Centre, and it's at 7:30 as well. It's the second leg, but believe me, we have a massive mountain to win. I think the score in the first leg was like 63-27 to Leicester, so it's going to be a tough one. And I'm hoping to get Billy back on the show, because remember, Billy is a Speedway genius, the analyst as I call him, but we'll see what happens. Right, now into one more track before we get into Cook's question, before we hand over the microphone to DJ Shiro and her Afrobeat show. We've still got about 10 minutes to go, so let's make the most of it. Let's have a little bit of Billy Butler here on Sports Lounge with The Right Track.
On your mind, what are you trying to tell me now? Are you feeling sad and blue because money's low and everything seems to go wrong? Well, my shoes got a hole in the bottom, but I can't stop now. I've been trying to reach my goal too long to give up on my journey now.
Best
The Emotions there with Best of My Love. Sadly, we've nearly come to the end of the show, but we've got just enough time to go through Cook's question for this week. With the news that Coventry City have signed up 6 of our Youth Academy stars to professional contracts, including George Thomas and Carl Spence, we've decided to keep up with the Youth Academy theme and ask you this week, who do you think Coventry City's best academy product is? We've had some surprising answers. Let's start off with Nick. He says Callum Davenport. He went on to play for Wootton Blue Cross. Oh, that's a prestigious team. Rupert Bear has said, I would say Danny Thomas or Dennis Mortimer. Also, Peter Whittingham, who obviously now plays for Cardiff. We've developed some good goalkeepers too. I know City fans hated him for different reasons, but Les Seeley was a top goalkeeper. And then there's Chris Kirkland, who, but for injuries, could have been an England regular. Also, Dean Kiley, who got sold to York City, but then turned out to be a great goalkeeper. Obviously, Dean Kiley, former Charlton and West Brom regular. Dazzle Tommy Dazzle says there's a few for us older types. Jeff Blockley, who went on to play for England, albeit only once. Dennis Mortimer, who captained their European Cup winning team. Willie Carr, Danny Thomas, who also played for England. Mark Haitley, another former England player. Graham Oakley and Chris Kirkland might have been on that list if it was not for injuries. Torchomatic says Danny Thomas has got to be up there. Danny Thomas actually went on to win the UEFA Cup with Spurs. He's the only English player to win the UEFA Under-21 Championship twice as well. Thomas, a bit like Mortimer, and possibly Callum Wilson in the future are the exceptions who go on to bigger clubs and have a good career. Thomas was great for Tottenham, but others such as Biggie, Gail Bigger-Romana of course, left too soon and their careers stagnate. Singapore names a couple, Danny Thomas, Lloyd McGrath and Gary McSheffrey. And can we count Daniel Sturridge as well? Yes, you can include Daniel Sturridge because he was in our youth academy. I'm not sure why he left, but Daniel Sturridge was actually in our youth team setup. So not only have we had a hand in the career of Jordan Henderson, we've also had a hand in the career of Daniel Sturridge. Glazer's Green Top also goes with Danny Thomas. He says he was a great player. Chinaman's View says Bobby Gold. He made us a lot of money, £80,000 when he was transferred. That may not sound like a lot now, but believe me, back in his day, that was a hell of a lot of money. Jimmy Hill's fan club says Gary Thompson was a great player for us when I was a nipper. He went on to play for other, quote, bigger sides like Sheffield Wednesday and Aston Villa. He should have played for England too, probably would have, but for Trevor Francis and his big price tag. I only ever seem to remember him playing covered in strapping and bandages. Wingy says Andy Blair wasn't too bad. Indeed, he wasn't Wingy. He went on to win the European Cup with Aston Villa in 1982. Nath CCFC says, I know he never signed for us professionally, and I'm not too sure what age he got poached from us, but Daniel Sturridge has to be one of the best, surely. Bigger Dam also goes for Daniel Sturridge. Eastwoods Dustman says Steve Sedgley was okay too, but I'd go for Kirkland, Thompson or Thomas. City since 47 says Dennis Mortimer, no question. And Mortimer did pretty well. He was a midfielder. He spent 6 years with City, playing almost 200 games before heading to Aston Villa, where he won the League Cup in 77, the Football League in 81, and the European Cup as well. Shmee says Daniel Sturridge, surely. Heard we turned down Ryan Giggs and all sorts of silly rumours as well. Also, didn't we have Michael Carrick in our books at one point? I remember seeing a photo of a young Michael Carrick at Coventry City. I don't know whether it was a loan spell from West Ham, but I know he was at Coventry at one point. Sky Blue Dan has listed a couple as well, where it says Kirkland, McSheffrey, Thomas and Davenport are all good shouts. No question about that. But I thought that, well, he says that not I thought he was any good, but was Willie Boland in our youth setup either? I can confirm, yes, he was. He made his debut for Coventry in 1992 before heading to Cardiff. And one final answer from Stupot07. I also thought Barry Quinn was useful when he first came through. Again, a massive, massive thank you to everyone who's got involved in Cook's Question. Again, this is your show. Thank you so much for getting involved. Sadly, that's all we've got time for here on Sports Lounge this week. It's been another fantastic show, as always. And that big blockbuster announcement as well, that right here on Sports Lounge on April the 16th, Big Ron Atkinson is going to be on the show. A big interview with Ron Atkinson, former Coventry United and Villa manager, right here on Sports Lounge. And also that brilliant competition prize coming up next week as well. We've got a big competition, so make sure you stay glued to our Twitter feed and our Hills Facebook account as well. Plus, next week, we want your questions to the man himself. Send in your questions to @Hills_SL. And, of course, there'll be a thread on the Sky Blues Talk forum. Until next week, Thursday, 10 a.m. till 12 is our next show. Until then, I've been Liam Cook. You've been brilliant. Stay safe and stay sporty. And, of course, stay locked to Hills FM 98.6.